What's happening, you guys? Thanks for tuning into the Drew Deeks channel. We got a bunch of stuff to go through today after what kind of was expected to be an underwhelming free agency for the Montreal Canadiens. It was a pretty quiet day for the Habs, as we know, but we still made a couple important moves. And let's just tell you guys what I want to talk about with you guys here today. So the Habs just signed Filip Mesar to a 3-year entry level contract. His buddy just doing the same the day before, Mr. Juraj Slafkovsky, of course. We're going to talk about where Mesar will play, and I may get to see him if he plays in the OHL this year, which I'm very, very excited about with the Kitchener Rangers, so we'll get to that. The Habs, actually, we found it from Kent Hughes yesterday, were not looking to shop Jeff Petry. They're simply looking to accommodate him for family reasons. And Lane Hutson becoming potentially the biggest steal of the NHL draft, not just for the Habs, but maybe the biggest steal of the draft. We'll get to that. And will Carey Price be a full-time goalie again in the NHL? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's start with our boy here, Filip Mesar, just a day after his buddy, like I mentioned, Juraj Slafkovsky signing his 3-year entry-level contract. Mesar does the same. And he impressed enough in camp that he was able to land himself a deal. And I'm really curious about how he's going to develop. We see the camaraderie him and Slav have, which is always fun to watch. But I think a lot more of us are really curious about what kind of player he's going to become. He's a right shot winger, and clearly he impressed enough to earn himself a contract. So if he does make it to the OHL next year, and he'll be with, again, like I mentioned a moment ago, the Kitchener Rangers, then I'll get a chance to see him at least a couple of times when he comes to Niagara to play against the Niagara Ice Dogs. Now, I think it's only going to be once he's going to actually come to Niagara, but I may go actually watch him in Kitchener as well. So that being said, if he does make it to the OHL and they feel like playing in junior is the best development path for him, I'll be reporting to you guys on him and what I see live. I can't wait to see him. I'm going to try any way I can, unless he goes to the AHL and plays with the Laval Rocket instead, or they try him out in that 10-game trial with the Habs if they really feel like there's an opportunity. And you have to feel like, based on the way this season projects to go, not great for the Habs, and that's not a bad thing because we still want to be a top 3 draft. We still want to be picking in the top 3 in the 2023 draft. So why not bring him in at some point this season if his development path in the OHL or the AHL with the Rocket is going well? So I wouldn't be surprised to see Filip Mesar join the Canadiens at some point this season. So let's keep an eye on that. Now, what we learned yesterday from Kent Hughes' press conference is that they were not actually actively shopping Jeff Petry. It was more of an accommodation thing. So they're trying to accommodate Jeff and his family, because as we know, last year it was very tough on him with the COVID restrictions in Quebec, and his family stayed in Michigan. So this has nothing to do with Jeff Petry, the player, in terms of why he's being traded, because Kent Hughes and the Canadiens still really like Jeff Petry as a player on the Montreal Canadiens. They feel that moving him would still create a big gap on the defensive side of things, on the right side specifically. But not only that, the Canadiens want to keep him around to help the younger guys develop. And I think that's a smart play. The Canadiens just aren't going to make this move for any other reason than it makes sense for the Montreal Canadiens. So if it doesn't make sense for them, they're just not going to do it. So I love the stance that Kent Hughes and the Habs are taking on that. And I got no problem if Jeff Petry wants to hang around and develop or help mentor guys like Justin Barron on the right side, possibly Logan Mailloux if his injury situation gets better, and other guys on the right side, whoever they want to put there. So I got no problem with that personally. I think that the way the Canadiens are playing this situation, the John Klingberg thing, maybe, because Kent Hughes was asked about whether, this situation weighs on whether John Klingberg is going to return to the Dallas Stars or not. And he said not entirely, but basically we're going to find out more about that as it goes on and what decision John Klingberg ultimately makes. All right, so Lane Hutson. I talked about him the other day with you guys, and the more and more I realize how excited my friend Shane from Habs Tonight was about this kid, the more I realize I trust his gut on this, because, look at this tweet the other day, just from Mark Dumont from the Montreal media. The development coach, this is during the player development camp at the Canadiens, the development coach keeps using Lane Hutson to show everyone how to do drills, except it's the first time he's doing them too. But hey, when you got it, you got it. So that's a pretty cool thing to see from Lane Hutson. Just the fact that this kid is, he just has the gift, right? He's got the talent. And not only that, but what also came, like I mentioned to you guys in my last video, Marie-Philippe Poulin also, and the Montreal media also noticed that the work ethic is there. It's already there. So the talent is there, the work ethic is there. And I don't know what the ceiling is for him, but one quote I heard that was really interesting on Twitter the other day about Lane Hutson was that this draft pick by the Canadiens has the potential to make a lot of other NHL teams look really bad by not taking him earlier. He went 62nd overall, I believe it was, somewhere in that range. So forgive me if that number's off right now. But I'm really excited about this kid. Being a defenseman myself, I mean, it's the most fun position to play in hockey, being an offensive defenseman. That's why Markov is my favorite player. And we know that Lane is a smaller guy. He's about 5'8", in the 170 range for his weight right now. But you know what? The fact that he's able to it just clicks for him. He's got it. So that's a pretty encouraging sign to see. And coming from the U.S. development program as well. So I just like what I'm seeing from this kid already. I mean, you don't want to prop these kids up too soon, but I think the hype is real around him. And there's every reason to be excited about what he can possibly bring, possibly on the power play in the future. Kent Hughes, once again, I mentioned it all the time on this channel, how the Canadiens are trying to build an offensively skilled, high-octane, exciting offensive team. And it's going to start from the back end out. So I really love the fact that we got him in the draft where we did. Just a steal, potentially the biggest steal, one of the biggest steals at least of the draft entirely. So Carey Price. All right, so we got no more clarification on Carey Price, but what Kent Hughes did say on Pricey here is that, when they actually get an answer, let me clarify this specifically. So Kent Hughes was asked by John Liu if he's going to be on track for his development or his off-season training, we should say, going into the fall. And the answer was simply that they didn't know, because Carey's got another treatment coming up very shortly in Montreal. Whether Carey comes back in September, October, or November, the main answer they want to get from Carey Price is, can he be a regular in the OHL again? Can he be a full-time NHL goalie again? They still don't have that answer. When they do get that answer, that's when they're going to know, whether he's on track. But that's the main question that Kent Hughes says that they're trying to get answered, is that they want to know if he's going to be full-time again or not one day. So we don't know that yet, right? And that's a fact. So hopefully Carey can do what he's got to do. It's such a big cap hit, but also the fact that they still really value Carey Price as a goalie. They still got Jake Allen, which is great. Sam Montembeault impressed last year. So the goalie situation is not a place of trouble for the Canadiens right now anyway. Like I mentioned Jeff Petry a moment ago, I really like, again, this play. I just have to bring this up again because they aren't trying to shop him. And I just think that's pretty neat. The fact that, not only are they not just going to shop Jeff Petry just for the sake of shopping him and accommodating him, but just, again, I really like that play because defensively, I'm really liking our prospects right now. Arbor Jackeye coming in, Caden Gooley coming in, possibly Logan Mailloux coming in. There's even more guys. I mean, Jordan Harris is still developing. Justin Barron, like I mentioned. So I really like the way the defense is shaping up for the Canadiens. On the forward group, we've got lots to be had there with Slav, Mesar now being signed. We've still got Dadonov. We're going to see what happens with Drew. And there's so many questions. There's a lot of questions, but I really like where things are going, at least in the offseason. And I'm okay with the fact that things have remained quiet on the free agency front because we don't have the cap flexibility, number one, and it just isn't the right time. But Kent Hughes did say, as contracts end, as the time comes next year, in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see the Habs be a lot more active in free agency. So now is a good time to be patient as a Habs fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am okay with that. I think we're all on board. Kent Hughes is sticking to his guns with this rebuild, and I'm all for it. I like what we've brought in so far through the draft. I'm really excited about it. So leave a comment down below, guys. Let me know your thoughts on these players and these subjects that we just mentioned. Appreciate the support. As you guys know, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. As always, cheers, guys.